While cleaning out my husband's car, I discovered a locked collar hidden deep beneath the driver's seat. I didn't scream or confront him, just dropped the key down the toilet. The next morning, Ethan made the news alongside a telephone pole. The moment I saw that stainless steel collar with its welded chain and dual locking mechanisms, my blood ran cold. This wasn't some pet accessory, it was industrial grade, human-sized. Our family didn't even own a dog. Ethan had developed a phobia of canines after being bitten as a child, to the point he'd cross the street to avoid one. No way he'd allow any animal in his Prius. My hands shook as I reverse image searched the contraption. The results nearly made me drop my phone. Specialized BDSM gear, custom ordered from some shady online retailer. 7 years of marriage. A 5-year-old son. The man who blushed when I suggested trying the Kama Sutras. Page 42. This made zero sense. If not Ethan's, then whose? I checked the dashcam only to find the memory card full. Last footage showing Ethan dropping our son at preschool 3 months prior. Typical man forgot to enable loop recording. I reset the settings, synced future footage to my phone, then carefully replaced the collar exactly as I'd found it. Back in our condo, Ethan stumbled out of the bedroom rubbing sleep from his eyes. Liv, where were you so early? Took your son to your mother's, I said, toeing off my sneakers. His coffee mug clattered against the granite countertop. You drove? The panic in his voice could have shattered glass. Obviously? You expect us to hail cabs at 7 a.m.? I stared at my suddenly pale husband. Realization dawning. That collar wasn't for some stranger. The Prius's spotless interior. The conveniently disabled dashcam. The missing key now swirling in city sewers. Ethan's face instantly darkened. His voice strained with suppressed irritation. Olivia. Why did you touch my car without telling me first? White-hot anger surged through my chest. This was supposed to be our rare weekend together. I'd planned to sleep in, but dawn hadn't even broken when Mrs. Johnson called, claiming she couldn't eat from missing her grandson and demanding I bring him over immediately. Ethan slept like a log beside me. He'd been working past midnight all week, and I hadn't the heart to wake him. I'd dressed our drowsy son alone, packed his school bag, and rushed out without even drinking water. Now I returned to accusations? My hands trembled violently. Should I file a formal request next time? Ethan? You stumbled in at 3 a.m. last night. I tried letting you rest. Since when is that a crime? His expression shifted as realization struck. Fumbling to embrace me, he stammered. Liv. That's not what I meant. His gaze darted to the car keys I'd tossed on the entryway table. I just worry. You barely drive normally. What if something happened to you and the kids? I shrugged off his touch. He clasped his hands in mock prayer. Puppy dog eyes pleading. Baby. I was half asleep. Forgive me? The tension eased slightly in my shoulders. Whatever. We had bigger issues to discuss. As I opened my mouth to confront him about the collar, he abruptly asked, By the way, you didn't touch anything else in the car, right? My blood turned to ice. Ethan? I searched his face. Why? Hiding someone's panties there? His eyelashes fluttered rapidly. The telltale rubbing of thumb against index finger began his nervous tic since college. Ha! Good one. Babe. His laugh sounded tinny. Just sensitive work documents from yesterday's rush job. No big deal. I maintained eye contact as sweat beaded his forehead. Suddenly he nuzzled into my neck. Warm breath ghosting my earlobe. Liv. His hand slid toward my hip. With the house empty, we could. Every muscle in my body tensed. Since our son was born, the intimacy between us has dwindled. Over the past 6 months, every time I tried to get close, Ethan would either claim exhaustion from overtime work or pretend to be asleep. The last time we were intimate was 6 months ago when I threatened divorce out of frustration. forcing him to reluctantly comply, though he rushed through it half-heartedly. To preserve his dignity, I stopped initiating altogether. Now, as his palm rests on my waist, I inexplicably feel uneasy. I finally push him away. Just dropped off the kid. I'm tired. Maybe later. Ethan almost immediately withdraws, the faintest relaxation visible at the corners of his mouth. Then, I'll catch up on sleep. So tired. The moment the bedroom door closes, I hear his relieved sigh. Half an hour later, rhythmic snoring drifts from the bedroom. My gaze falls on his phone carelessly tossed on the coffee table. To check or not? The thought coils in my mind like a venomous serpent. In 7 years of marriage, I've never snooped through Ethan's phone, never even considered it. That's why he's always left it lying around openly. The lock screen password remained my birthday all these years. I once believed this symbolized our complete trust. Now, must I shatter this pride of mine? I finally pick up the phone. The screen lights up, my heartbeat pounding painfully. I quickly scan his recent messages, nothing unusual. No hotel reservations either. Maybe I'm overreacting? Then why did he act so strangely earlier? After prolonged hesitation, I install a syncing app on his phone, the expensive tracking software my best friend had custom developed. It mirrors all incoming messages and provides real-time location tracking. My friend, married to a playboy, obsessively monitors her husband. When she first shared this app, I vowed I'd never use it. Ethan would never cheat. I'd insisted. He doesn't even add female coworkers on WeChat. How ironic that I'm now eating my words. Yet part of me still clings to hope. Maybe I'm imagining things. Around midnight, I lie awake in bed. Beside me, Ethan remains uncharacteristically silent, no familiar snores. Suddenly, his phone screen illuminates. The blue glare stings in the darkness. Squinting, I watch him quietly change clothes and slip out. The moment the door clicks shut, I grab my phone. The tracking app already displays the synced message, "Emergency with the project. Need you at the office immediately. Mr. Johnson." The sender shows as Emily. Company business. Everything appears normal. Maybe I really am paranoid? But the nagging unease in my heart made me follow anyway. 20 minutes later, Ethan's car pulled up in front of the company building. I was about to sigh in relief and head home when I saw Ethan step out of the driver's seat. He was holding that dog collar. It glinted ominously under the streetlights. After glancing around furtively, Ethan hurried toward the public restroom at the corner. I followed, hiding in the shadows about 20 feet from the facility. Approximately 10 minutes passed. Someone emerged from the restroom. A masked woman in skin-tight leather let out a dog on a leash. My eyes focused. That wasn't a dog, it was my husband Ethan, wearing the collar with drunken ecstasy plastered across his face. The woman bent to pat his head. Ethan immediately nuzzled her stiletto heel like an obedient pet. The chain jingling obscenely. The midnight silence amplified every word. Being quite bold tonight. Wanting to play near the office? The woman's tinkling laugh carried through the stillness. Cameras, all the cameras are down. Ethan panted, his tongue lolling grotesquely. Take off the mask, let this mutt see his queen's face. Apparently reassured by the disabled security, the woman hooked a blood-red fingernail under her mask. When those familiar features materialized under the amber glow, my knees buckled. It was Emily, my son's kindergarten teacher. Suddenly it made sense. No wonder Ethan had insisted on handling all school drop-offs despite his hectic schedule. I'd thought he was being considerate. How touched I'd been. All along, he'd been carrying on with our child's teacher right under our son's nose. Bile surged up my throat. I clamped a hand over my mouth, trembling as I kept watching. Emily wound the chain around Ethan's neck, leaving angry welts. "Aren't you worried, Mrs. Carter might find out about your appetites? She purred. Ethan's face contorted between pain and perverse pleasure. That lifeless woman, can't even look at her without feeling sick, couldn't get it up if I tried. Emily chuckled, tilting his chin with her shoe tip. Then why stay married? She took care of the children, served Mrs. Johnson, acted as a free nanny while still being somewhat useful. Heh. Then what about me? You're my queen. Ethan pressed his ecstatic face against her high heels. Emily forcefully kicked his ass. TSK, born to be a filthy dog. Ethan looked up with gleaming eyes. Punish this disobedient mutt. Woof, woof. Watching their retreating figures, I finally couldn't hold back. I rushed into the public restroom and vomited violently, splashing cold water on my face. The red-eyed woman in the mirror looked particularly terrifying in a midnight facility. But this world holds horrors far worse than ghosts like human hearts. Taking deep breaths, I thoroughly searched every corner until discovering a black bag in the janitorial bucket containing Ethan's clothes and 2 silver keys. Enjoy being a dog? I'll indulge you. I dropped those keys into the toilet bowl, watching them swirl into oblivion before leaving with the clothes. The pair kept dodging security guards while openly parading down the street. Ethan seemed exhilarated, occasionally barking. After an hour, they finally headed back. Though visibly excited, Ethan still craved more. He actually lifted his leg against the company's telephone pole to urinate. Emily laughed hysterically, chaining the leash end to the pole. Wait here, mutt. I'll get the keys. Ethan panted with crazed delight, tongue lolling. I smirked. Keep laughing. Your amusement won't last. 10 minutes later, Emily came scrambling from the restroom in panic. Ethan! They're gone. The clothes and keys vanished. The color drained from Ethan's face. His trembling now stemmed from fear, not excitement. Impossible. Check again. Emily stomped frantically. I've checked everywhere. Even lifted the toilet seat. God damn it. Who took the stuff? Ethan yanked desperately at the metal collar around his neck. The chain proved unbreakable, his voice cracking with panic. What now? We can't open this without the key. Think of something. The pair paced frantically while I casually adjusted my phone zoom. That iPhone camera is no joke. At 5 times magnification. Every bead of sweat on their foreheads. Every trembling finger. Even the angry red marks on Ethan's neck showed crystal clear. I casually dropped a pin and keywords in the neighborhood gossip forum. After 10 futile minutes of struggling, Emily finally grabbed a fist-sized rock. Ethan, brace yourself. I'm smashing this lock. The utility pole's girth forced the chain to loop around it, pressing Ethan's face against the cold metal. Jay, just aim carefully. Ethan stammered, eyeing the rock. Don't hit the carotid. Emily took a dramatic breath, squinted, and missed. The rock glanced off Ethan's temple. Fuck. Are you trying to kill me? Blood trickled down Ethan's face as Emily shrugged. It needs force to break. Want me to stop? She fake stormed off. Wait. Ethan's plea bordered on tears. Jay, just aim better this time. Emily widened her eyes comically. Rock raised high. What the hell are you doing? The shout made Emily flinch. The rock flew sideways, smashing Ethan's other temple. His howl of pain echoed as Emily froze mid-escape. Don't leave me like this. At least leave some clothes. A crumpled mask landed at Ethan's feet. He stared at the pathetic scrap of fabric, utterly defeated. The security guard on duty came running over. When he saw the scene by the utility pole, he froze like he'd been struck by lightning. He even rubbed his eyes hard, thinking it might be a hallucination. Mr. Johnson? The guard's voice trembled with excitement. Ethan finally realized where he should have positioned his mask. Frantically pulling it over his face with one hand, He used the other to desperately cover his groin. You've got the wrong guy. I'm not who you think. The guard, an earnest man, yanked the mask off Ethan's face and stuffed it into his own pocket. I salute you every morning. Sir. How could I mistake you? His weathered face creased in confusion. But, Mr. Johnson, what in God's name are you? Suddenly he smacked his forehead. Oh. You pissed off someone powerful. Didn't ya? Got set up like this? Ethan nodded so vigorously the chains clanked. Yes. Now get these damn locks off me. The guard circled the utility pole, whistling through his teeth. Lord Almighty. These chains are wound tighter than a hog at slaughter. This is serious. Sir. I'm calling the cops. He reached for his phone. No. Don't. Ethan's voice cracked as sweat dripped from his brow. I'll pay you. $10,000. $20,000. Just keep quiet. The guard's eyes lit up. You got yourself a deal. He hurried off, leaving Ethan momentarily relieved until excited shrieks and pounding footsteps erupted from the darkness. Fucking hell. Why is everyone out tonight? Ethan hissed, watching camera flashes pop like fireflies. He curled into a fetal position, cheek pressed against cold metal. Check this out. Fam. Actual tea at 2 a.m. Dudes rocking that utility pole chic. A phone light illuminated Ethan's predicament. Turn around. My guy. 100,000 viewers want to say hi. The crowd swelled until even the returning guard with bolt cutter scowl penetrated the wall of spectators filming vertical videos. When firefighters finally freed him at dawn, Ethan wished the pole could swallow him whole. Next morning, he trended alongside photos of that damned pole. Just when I thought Ethan's reputation couldn't sink lower, the plot twist no one saw coming unfolded. In the hospital room, Ethan leaned against the bed with bandages wrapped around his forehead. His face pale, red-eyed and trembling before the camera. He choked out. I truly don't know who I offended. I only went to retrieve documents from the office when someone knocked me out from behind before I even entered. He paused dramatically, as if swallowing humiliation. When I woke up, I was already. His bitter smile wavered. The security cameras conveniently malfunctioned. The police say evidence is scarce. But I won't press charges. Maybe it was a moment of weakness. I can't let this affect my family. His tears spilled over at the word family. Wiping his eyes, he bowed deeply to the camera. Mock me if you must, but leave my wife Olivia and child out of this. Our company has nothing to do with this tragedy. The tearful interview went viral instantly. #StandWithEthan trended nationwide. Comments flooded in. That plea about protecting his family shattered me. What a real man. College classmate here. Ethan's the ultimate family guy. This was targeted. Sketchy how cameras failed. Who's threatened by him? Though one skeptic wrote, if this was assault, why not press charges? Backing off looks guilty. The critical comment quickly drowned in waves of support. Capitalizing on the momentum, Ethan's company announced, in light of Mr. Ethan's ordeal, we grant 1 month's paid leave and enhanced campus security. The post featured photos of Ethan's Employee of the Year awards. Ethan launched his viral TikTok account from the hospital bed, mustering strength to discuss overcoming cyberbullying. The video hit 1 million likes within hours. Comments overflowing with heart emojis and stay strong messages. Olivia snapped her phone shut with a cold laugh. How ironic, an adulterous cheat transformed into internet's darling victim. Yet she smiled grimly. Since their son's birth, Ethan had pressured her to quit work without stable income. Custody battles looked bleak. She needed time. Let the truth simmer a bit longer, she murmured. The higher they rise. Ethan proved impatient. The scabs on his neck hadn't fully healed when Olivia's monitoring app pinged with fresh messages. Miss you punishing me properly. Baby girl smiling face with horns. But doesn't your wife watch you 24/7 now? That cow? She's too busy weeping over my injuries to notice anything. Naughty boy smirking face early drop off tomorrow? Parking lot after we leave the kindergarten? Never done it at your school before. The newly minted internet celebrity couldn't risk hotels. Olivia's stomach churned imagining their son skipping into preschool while his father received punishment from Emily in the backseat of their SUV. I still couldn't stop feeling nauseous. After Ms. Taylor's car tutorial, Ethan clearly wasn't satisfied. He whispered something in Emily's ear that made her gasp. Are you serious? What if someone sees us? Ethan's face flushed with excitement. Relax. I did my research. It's an abandoned factory, no people. No cameras. Emily hesitated. This feels too twisted. Weren't you eyeing that designer bag? I'll buy it afterward. Her eyes instantly lit up. Well then, don't expect me to hold back. Please. The rougher the better. I couldn't help but chuckle softly. After all this time, the trap was finally ready to spring. This would be entertaining. 2 days later. Saturday dawn. The sky hadn't fully lightened when Ethan slipped out of bed. Where are you going so early? I pretended to rub sleep from my eyes as he dressed with his back to me. Fishing trip with Lucas and the guys. Spots got bad reception. His voice vibrated with suppressed excitement. Be careful. Sleep in, sweetheart. I'll bring back a big catch tonight. His lips brushed my forehead before he left. 30 minutes later. I stood before the bathroom mirror perfecting my act, reddening eyes. Trembling lips. I'd rehearsed these details countless times. At the police station, officer. Help! My husband's been kidnapped. I rushed in wearing slippers. Shoving my phone across the counter. This is from his dashcam. The footage showed Ethan bound like a mummy. Writhing in the trunk. Behind the wheel sat Emily, black leather. Baseball cap. Face mask. Textbook criminal disguise. Tears spilled on cue. I called 20 times. He got attacked outside work last month. Oh God. Could it be the same person? I clutched the officer's sleeve. Our baby's too young to lose his father. The screen displayed Ethan's purpling face and Emily's suspicious outfit, undeniable evidence of violent abduction. Sirens pierced the morning air as I rode in the patrol car. Watching scenery blur past. The lovebirds' phones remained stubbornly offline. They must be having the time of their lives right now. The thought made me clutch my phone tighter. Soon. Very soon. Inside the abandoned Jean-Sean scrap metal factory. Police officers kicked down the door to find Ethan completely naked. Tied to a rusted metal pillar. Clearly. He developed quite an affinity for that post. Emily stood brandishing a leather whip. With a sharp crack. She left fresh red welts across his back. Freeze! Police! Emily jerked in surprise. The whip clattering to the floor as 2 officers tackled her. Ethan's eyes nearly bulged out of their sockets when he saw me. The silk stockings gagging him reduced his protests to muffled grunts. Honey! I shrieked. Throwing myself at him. Don't be scared! I'm here to save you. My manicured nail accidentally dug into one of his wounds. Making him hiss in pain. Whirling toward the restrained Emily. I gasped dramatically. Ms. Taylor? How could it be you? You kidnapped my husband? Emily shook her head frantically. It's not kidnapping. He begged for this. Ask him yourself. I turned to Ethan with trembling lips. You willingly did this? His immediate head shake had me wailing like a widow. Officers. Did you see that? My husband says it wasn't consensual. What's the sentence for kidnapping? 10 years minimum. Arrest her now. Panic flooded Emily's features. No. I didn't, Ethan. Say something. She struggled against the officer's grip. I cupped Ethan's face. Sweetheart? Is this true? He avoided my gaze. Giving the tiniest guilty nod. See. I jabbed a finger at Emily. My husband confirms everything. Ethan's muffled noises grew frantic. With a sigh, an officer removed his gag. Care to explain? It wasn't, I agreed to this. Ethan mumbled, his voice fading. What? I staggered back. You're telling me you voluntarily let our son's kindergarten teacher tie you up naked and whip you? The officers exchanged knowing looks. Ethan's face flushed crimson. Must you announce it to the world? This is embarrassing enough. My scream could shatter glass. Divorce. I want a divorce. Rage consumed me. What rational thought remains when confronting your husband's mistress? Seizing the moment when the officers were caught off guard, I grabbed the leather whip from the floor and lashed it at him. Crack! 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 I aimed precisely at his most vulnerable areas. Within a few strikes, his skin turned swollen and purple like an overripe eggplant. The officers rushed to intervene. Overwhelmed by rage, my vision blurred and I collapsed, plunging the scene into chaos. After being lectured by the police, both parties agreed to settle it as a domestic dispute. Though Ethan's injury proved severe, doctors ordered 3 months of bed rest with a catheter. He never blamed me. Instead, he knelt before me, clutching my pants hem with tearful pleas. Olivia, I was wrong. I swear I've learned my lesson. It was just a moment of weakness. She meant nothing. You and our son are my whole world. I remained unmoved, slapping the pre-prepared divorce papers across his face. Sign. I get full custody and all assets. You leave with nothing. No. I'd rather die than divorce. He protested. I flashed my phone, replaying the factory surveillance footage. Sure. Should I help this go viral? #executive and kindergarten teachers explicit footage, catchy headline. No. In the end, Ethan relented under revised terms. I kept custody while he retained the house, splitting our savings evenly. Truthfully, I'd already funneled joint account funds into an educational annuity insurance for our son, inaccessible until he turns 18. Ethan erupted upon seeing the drained accounts, but grudgingly accepted it was for our child's future. He'll never discover the savings I've accumulated through my self-media ventures. Originally intended as his birthday surprise, now it's my safety net. As for the mortgage-heavy house he fought to keep, let him have it. I'd secured what truly mattered. On the final day of the cooling-off period, sunlight bathed the Civil Affairs Bureau as we exited separately. Suddenly, Ethan's phone rang shrilly. Emily's panicked voice pierced the air. Ethan, our video leaked. It's everywhere. I lost my job. He whirled toward me, eyes blazing. You swore on our son's life you deleted it. I smiled coolly, hailing a taxi. I did delete that one. Should check today. Ethan. Through the rearview mirror, I watched his horrified face as the cab pulled away. Olivia glanced at her phone before Ethan came charging over, pounding frantically on the car window. Olivia! You bitch! Get out here right now. The driver executed a perfect spin, sending Ethan sprawling into the gutter. Prick! The driver spat. I pick up divorce clients here daily, seen plenty of your type. Smiling, I opened Twitter. The top trending tag made my pulse quicken, #truth behind the scandal. The full security footage of Ethan being tied to that utility pole outside his office building had gone viral. The comments section exploded. Give this man an Oscar. Trophy. Knew that collar looked custom fitted. The plot thickens. Get 10% off matching collars on Amazon with code #Emily'sPet smiling face with horns. I closed the app, exhaling slowly. This video had burned in my cloud storage for months. Let him explain this to his shareholders. Ethan's calls came in rapid succession. I blocked his number without hesitation. His company moved faster by sunset. Their website displayed the crisp announcement, following emergency board proceedings. Mr. Ethan is hereby relieved of all executive duties effective immediately. The house? Let him keep it. With his reputation in tatters, mortgage payments would drown him within months. Besides, I'd left a parting gift. Through weeks of surveillance, I'd discovered Ethan's peculiar habit of conducting all business, both professional and extracurricular, in his precious Tesla. The dashcam archives held enough evidence to sink a battleship, flirtatious banter with Emily, shady client kickback deals, even conspiratorial whispers with Mrs. Johnson about liquidating assets. That's how I learned about the gold bars. My thrifty husband had been converting cash into bullion for years, stashed in the wall safe behind his tacky office painting. While Ethan and Emily were otherwise occupied, I'd liberated the shiny rectangles. Current market rates valued this retirement fund at $2,300,000. Suddenly, his constant whining about company cutbacks limiting my monthly allowance to $700 made tragicomic sense. The gold now resided in my private vault. I wondered how long until Ethan noticed. As for the lovebirds, after their very public firings and viral humiliation, Emily moved into Ethan's McMansion. On day 3 of their cohabitation, 3 hulking men shouldered past the pizza delivery guy at the door. The tattooed leader settled onto Ethan's Italian leather sofa like a king. "Mr. Ethan," he drawled, examining his knuckles. "My associates and I need to discuss your outstanding gambling debts." "Are you Ethan?" Ethan's pent-up rage exploded. "Who the fuck are you? Breaking and entering? I'll call the cops." The tattooed man burst into laughter, clapping his hands. 2 hulking figures immediately rushed forward, slamming Ethan face-first onto the floor. "What's all the noise?" Emily stumbled out of the bedroom rubbing her eyes. Her face drained of color when she recognized the intruders. Lips trembling. "Lucas." Ethan's eyes widened. "You know him?" Lucas planted his boot between Ethan's shoulder blades, sneering. "I'm her legal husband. Dipshit. You 2 cheating bastards having fun?" His voice lifted mockingly on the final syllable. At his nod, the goons unleashed a flurry of kicks and punches. "Stop. Please stop." Ethan curled into a fetal position, arms desperately shielding his head as agonized screams echoed through the living room. Emily tried to bolt, but Lucas yanked her back by the hair. A dozen brutal slaps split her lip, blood trickling down her chin. "You whore!" he spat in her face. "Fucking around while I was inside? Got a thing for scrawny pencil dicks?" His men redoubled their efforts, targeting Ethan's kidneys and groin. Lucas barked commands like a deranged coach. "There! Cripple the bastard!" As Ethan teetered on consciousness, Lucas crouched beside him, patting his bruised cheek. "Gotta pay the adultery tax, buddy." Emily's tearful plea cut through the chaos. "Just give him the money." "Ethan! He's killed before." Lucas ground his heel into Ethan's fingers, bone crunching audibly. "Hear that? Pay up." "I will. I swear." Ethan sobbed, snot mixing with blood. "Let me get it." "Think I'm stupid?" Lucas jerked his chin toward the study. "Move. 10 minutes or you both take the express elevator." Limping badly, Ethan staggered into the study. He slammed the door, ripped down a landscape painting, and fumbled with the wall safe. The click of the lock mechanism triggered a blood-curdling shriek, more visceral than any pain he'd endured tonight. Bang! 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 Lucas pounded the door. "Quit yowling. Bitch! Open up!" Ethan stared at the empty vault, mind reeling. His entire life savings, gone. With an enraged roar, Lucas demolished the door in 2 kicks. The trio stormed in to find Ethan collapsed before the Baron's safe, complexion matching the eggshell walls. "Are you fucking kidding me? Where's the money?" Lucas grabbed Ethan by the collar and hoisted him up. Ethan suddenly began shrieking hysterically. "My money was stolen. I need to call the police. Call your mother." You dare screw with me? Lucas's temples pulsed with rage. Boys. Beat him dead. At his command, 2 enforcers pounced. Fists rained down like hailstones. Ethan managed a few agonized cries before his protests dwindled to faint whimpers. Boss. Something's wrong. One thug paused to check Ethan's breathing. This bastard's fading fast. Lucas spat a curse and signaled the beating to stop. The trio swiftly looted cash, phones, and valuables before making their exit. Yet before leaving, Lucas turned back to deliver several brutal kicks to Emily's ribs. The moment they opened the door, 3 police pistols greeted them. Freeze! Police! It was my call. Though watching Ethan's beating through surveillance cameras brought vicious satisfaction. I added, we were married once. I couldn't just let them kill him. My fingertip had hovered over the emergency dial just a fraction too long before pressing send. In the interrogation room, Lucas sang like a canary. He was Emily's husband fresh out of prison after serving 5 years for aggravated assault. Upon release, he'd found all communication channels blocked until viral footage surfaced, leaked BDSM videos between some executive and kindergarten teacher, complete with doxed home addresses in the comments. That geotagged comment wasn't mine. Of course. I simply enjoyed occasionally boosting intriguing content with my discretionary funds. Blame the algorithms. A few sponsored pushes made damning evidence find its perfect audience. The death notification came while I was building Legos with my son. Ethan never made it to the ER. Emily survived with a shattered pelvis. Condemned to wheelchair life. The real theatrics came from Mrs. Johnson. Hearing of her son's death, the widow stormed the hospital and bludgeoned Emily within 4 pole until her own blood pressure spiked, leaving her paralyzed from a stroke. As for Lucas, mandatory 15 years minimum for felony murder. And my son? Through legal convolutions, Ethan's sole heir now holds deed to that cursed penthouse.